Erick Hall departure was jolting because I'm talking about the fans. It was jolting because it sort of came out of the blue. It was unexpected. Uh, but when you talk about the uh, how it's going to hit them from a leadership and performance standpoint, Michigan's going to be fine. You know, you got to learn to roll with those punches, especially, and these seem to be some easier punches to roll with. You never like to lose a good player, and Erick was a good player, a good dude. Relationships fray. I mean, marriages break apart all the time. You can have good people, both could be good people, and then the relationship, they just grow apart and they go their separate ways. And sometimes that is for the best. It's better; they're better apart than they were together. And I said after the news broke that he felt ostracized from the team. Who are we to say that he shouldn't? I won't be presumptuous and say he shouldn't feel that way. He should feel how he thinks he should feel about how he thinks he was treated. Right from Michigan's perspective, I think they would say they went out of their way to make him feel included after the injury happened. Now, I don't know about everything that happened with the surgery and thereafter, but that's a dispute is more of a reason why you just part ways. And then you look at Michigan from a talent standpoint. Yeah, Erick was a good player, but you got tight ends. Like you got ball players. And in Colston Loveland, you got a guy who I think going whether it's any of the recent tight ends, you go back to Jake Butt, who's my guy. You go back to any of these tight ends we've seen this century, and I think Colston Loveland is more talented than all of them. So you're gonna be fine at the position. And then from a leadership standpoint, I said earlier in the podcast, you lost two captains. Did you feel it? Did you feel the loss of leadership from Erick, who was around, right, even after the injury before the surgery, and then Cade, who after his deal wasn't around anymore? Did you feel the absence? You didn't, right? The team didn't. They're 13-0. So the reason why that comes up, you mentioned Ladarius Henderson looking at things like culture. If Michigan had a culture problem, they wouldn't be 13-0. If Michigan had a leadership problem, they wouldn't be 13-0. Talent doesn't overcome culture and leadership issues. Ask Texas A&M. Texas A&M maybe has the most talent in the country. What's their record? So you can't look at Michigan and say, "Oh, well, they just have guys." Doesn't matter, if the locker room has a culture problem or a leadership problem. Clearly, they have neither, and you've seen the players kind of speak to that. And so, in keeping with what I just said about Erick, and having to do what's best for him, I imagine, you got to weigh your NIL options too. It may seem like a slam dunk following his man Cade, who's obviously his guy, one of his best friends, right? Following him to Iowa seems like an ideal thing. They actually use the tight end there. Like if I'm a receiver, I'm not looking at Iowa. Like why would you look at Charlie Jones? Charlie Jones, it's like he was escaping purgatory. It was like he was chained down, and then he was set free going to Purdue. Right, that dude was languishing at Iowa, so it makes no sense for any receiver with it worth any salt to go to Iowa. It makes no sense. But tight ends, oh man, it's tight end heaven. Right, it makes sense. So that would make sense for Erick, and you would be a favored target by the quarterback, right? So that makes sense. But if you're him, he has a kid to look after, right? You better be weighing all of your options NIL wise too, which I imagine is why that thing hasn't already come to fruition. But getting to the Cade piece, I told people last year that these two quarterbacks, if Cade wins the job, don't expect JJ just stick. I don't care what they're saying publicly. If Cade McNamara wins this job, I don't expect JJ to be around. If JJ wins the job, I don't expect Cade to be around. Now I told you from the start of the season, I thought JJ was going to win the quarterback job. It didn't. You understood why he didn't win it last year because he's a freshman, right? He's a veteran. He's been part of helping the team kind of recover from the COVID season, which was a disaster, right? He's established some leadership in the locker room, and he's trustworthy. The coaches whose jobs are on the line, like you wonder how they would have acted, how they would have made that decision if if it weren't, your coaching life hanging in the balance. If you were secure, let's say you were coming off of, let's say, the 2021 season, all the circumstances, the quarterback scenario in the 2021 season was the same. But the season you had before, let's say the 2020 season was a Big Ten championship season and you beat Ohio State. How do you evaluate the quarterback battle at that point? Do you play it as safe as they did, where they say, "Hey, we got a guy who has been here. He's gone through the ringer. He's a leader on the team, and we can trust him on the field to not take too many risks, to not take too many chances. He's going to be responsible with the football, right? He's going to manage the game." Whereas JJ, on the other hand, world of talent. You saw it from the minute he got on the football field. But man, we haven't seen him out there before. And we watched the young fella in practice. He's gonna try some things. Let's just try to spoon feed that in there. It made sense for that to be the approach last season, right? The 2021 season. But heading into this year, now that JJ has been through the ringer, has some experience. Now you got to have a real competition. 21 wasn't a real competition, right? 22 was a real competition. Now, you got to be better if you're JJ. You got to be better than you were at any point during the last year, because now Cade has a resume. He's actually led the team to a championship, and I don't diminish and downgrade his contribution to that team like a lot of fans do. Look, he played a key role, a pivotal role in helping that team win a Big Ten championship. But was he the catalyst for it? And so that's what you're looking for. Why is there a competition coming off of what they just had, a Big Ten championship and a playoff appearance? Why do you even have a competition? And watching Cade's video, that he had that interview, that seems like that was their question. Why is there even a competition when I just won the Big Ten championship? I'm the Big Ten championship quarterback. Ain't that what he said? You remember that press conference? He said, I'm the Big Ten championship quarterback. Why is there even a competition? The reason there's a competition is because if you're going to win a national championship, odds are you're going to need a quarterback performance where that quarterback is a catalyst. And that's not saying that Cade couldn't do it, but he was going to have to show that in a real competition. He was going to have to show that he was better than this young fella who he had another advantage over. So he had the advantage of the season that he just had, right? He had the advantage of spring ball, right? Because JJ couldn't compete in spring ball. He had the shoulder injury. But if you're Harbaugh and you head into fall camp, no, we're going to have a real competition, because for the express reason that I just laid out, we might need our quarterback to put us on his back. J.J. McCarthy at Ohio State without Blake Corum. We might need our quarterback to step up and basically be the reason that we won this game. J.J. McCarthy down at Ohio State with Donovan Edwards with a broken hand in the first half, and we need you to make some plays, right? We might need our quarterback to do that. And so we got to find out, is that Cade, right? Or is that JJ now that he's healthy? We're going to see which one. You couldn't really get a feel for that in practice. Practice is not going to tell you. It's not going to render a verdict on that. You need some gameplay. So that's why if you're Jim Harbaugh, you say, you know what? We're going to give y'all some games. We're going to see how it works out on the field. Now, you might say it's Hawaii and Colorado State. What are you looking to see there? Those opponents aren't going to apply the kind of pressure that the moment does, that the competition was the pressure. The moment was the pressure. And frankly speaking, JJ handled it better. If you go back and look at how those two quarterbacks performed in that sequence, the numbers don't lie. JJ performed better. Cade gets hurt. It's a moot point after that. But that is why you have that competition. Go back and look at Clemson with Kelly Bryant and what's my man's name? The
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. Kelly Bryant had led them to a playoff appearance in the conference championship the year before. And Dabo was like, hey, man, we got to see in some games how this is going to work out. And Kelly Bryant, those first 4 games, he played decent. He didn't play poorly. But through those 4 games, Dabo said, you know what? I'm going to need something extra. Something beyond what we had last year to win the whole damn thing. And so he went with Trevor Lawrence. And Jim Harbaugh did the same thing. So, again, when it gets to getting on a video, talking about the other guy fumbled the game away, when the fumble didn't, first of all, the fumble wasn't his fault, and the fumble didn't end the game, and you had another possession, and in the game ended in an interception, that when it gets like that, that's when it's okay. You know what? It's time to do something different. It's better for both sides for him to go this way and for Michigan to continue being 13-0. And Cade landed in a great spot at Iowa, right? Gonna be in a heavy play action, hit the tight end, spoon feed the tight end, a lot of throws, not throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game. It's not gonna be a quarterback dependent offense. That's not Iowa, right? And there's an opportunity for him to really thrive there. He's gonna be better than Spencer. Than these last 2 quarters, he's gonna be way better than them. So there's a chance they can get back to winning the West, right? Meanwhile, Michigan can continue, like I said, doing what they do, 13-0, chance for a championship. You're coming off, you beat Ohio State in Columbus, right? And your quarterback seems to really be rounding into form, rounding into leadership form, right? So you can definitely see the guys looking to him. That's why I was talking about earlier in the deal here, Bryce. If you lose 2 captains, you would think your locker room takes a major hit, and nothing like that happened. They kept it moving. They didn't miss a beat. That has everything to do with guys like Olu and Ronnie, of course. And you looked over on defense and see the guys over there, but JJ played a huge role in that as well. And then the other piece, the unspoken piece, that's going to be better off for Michigan. All this kumbaya stuff that you saw in the media about, JJ and K, and JJ says nothing but nice things, right? Man, that was the frostiest relationship known to me. I'll just tell it. That was a frosty deal. That was Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers frosty, except not the same talent component, right? I'm not saying that you had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers talent-wise, but it was frosty like that. And so, I credit those guys for not letting that be public. You certainly credit JJ for saying, man, I learned a ton from that guy, and everything that he does. Man, come on, dude. I was born tonight, not last night. That was some frosty stuff. And you're seeing now with an interview like that, yeah, that's how it really was. The interview, all that energy that you saw coming out in that interview, that's how it really was. And so now you don't have that anymore. That's better for the team, better for JJ, better for the guys who were doing well anyway, better for Cade too, right? So sometimes, lamenting losses that aren't losses is wasted energy. So stop lamenting losses that aren't losses if you're Michigan fans.